Hey everyone, Shannon Scott with Grave Talks, coming to you from inside of Louisville, Kentucky, and the St. Louis Cemetery of the Catholics. If I were to give this place a nickname, I would call it the Cemetery of Angels and Anchors, two powerful symbols in the cemetery religiously, and just, denotion of reverence and piety and empire and one's connection to their faith. It's post-Civil War, 1867, so Louisville, which, I think stands to reason, was kind of Union Army-oriented, maybe fared better than some of the other southern cities. But there are 48,000-ish burials in this cemetery with its Kentucky green grass, and just, it's plush out here. Cave Hill Cemetery really gets a lot of the rabble, but in my book, this is a very unique, special place. I will also tell you, and I hate to give up these secrets, but this is a very unattended cemetery. So if you're looking for a quiet place to walk and just wander, look at that anchor, stunning, that rope. God, obviously the sculptor had a real anchor around to sketch or model. That's just too lifelike. In fact, there are a lot of lifelike anchors out here. And it's interesting, having lived in Georgia for a long time now, in South Carolina, but the familiarity with Georgia marble and the Georgia granite, you see that stuff everywhere, once you're kind of out there and sort of know the way it looks. But it's just kind of interesting to encounter that, and makes you a little prideful. When you ride around Louisville, you see these empire mansions of the Victorian age. I mean, River Railroad, mill money, and the monuments in the cemetery certainly call to the amount of wealth. But as elaborate as these grave sites are, nothing quite prepares you for the majesty of some of these neighborhoods, like along Cherokee Avenue and others, but makes you understand the wealth that was here. Also, whoever laid out, and I apologize that I don't know this, but whoever laid out this cemetery put a lot of it on concentric circles. And a lot of the the headstones, memorials, monuments, they are then facing outward. Not all of them, some of them inward, but they're all sort of, on the ridges, like an old tree cut down. It's almost like a tree of life statement. And in the centers of these concentric circles is either like a group of, three trees, sort of, Garden of Gethsemane style. This may have had an old well. This plant is relatively new. There's some sort of poured foundation here over what looks to be, maybe there might have been a freestanding cross here at one time. Not sure how long that shrub has been here, but you can kind of see the ridges as you look around. And of course, that's a very radiating sun symbol in my mind. It's about protection. It also, makes me contemplate. I mean, I'm sure they looked for a good Catholic architect or landscape designer, but, I find a lot of these cemeteries were laid out by the Masonic culture. And although some say that is, kind of antithetical to the religious laws of churches, particularly the Catholic, we all know, for those that know, that ain't quite true. All those kind of fraternal orders, religious and otherwise, we're all hanging out. But anyway, one of the more truly European monuments out here, and there are a bunch of wealthy European families. And by the way, you've got the Sisters of the Poor out here. You've got a whole concentric area with just bishops and monsignors and reverends all together, grouped together. You've got Moravians out here, and you've got Irish, you've got German, you've got Italian, like D'Annunzio, which is also the name of one of Louisville's mayors, who was actually named for this D'Annunzio, Joseph, who was from Sicily, I believe. And boy, what an entrance here with the pineapples. Not surprising, he was a fruit vendor, fruit seller. He started that business in the 1870s. He also had the first electrified house in Louisville. Almost said Savannah. I'm used to saying that. But nonetheless, he had the first electrified home in Louisville, Kentucky. And there he is in his life-size character, leaning on 2 fruit crates. And I love this little art detail where the sculptor exposed, almost hourglass style, 2 oranges or 2 lemons. I'm not sure, maybe persimmons. Not sure the exact symbolism there as far as the fruit goes, but he's showing that stacked almost like an hourglass, which I think is maybe the intention there, to show time. Great, just subtle detail. The face is extremely lifelike. I don't know if y'all can really see it up there. He had more facial hair at one time, I think, but the weathering here is hard. But his daughter, she had his suit and pocket watch sent over to Italy in the 1890s when he passed, and so that the sculptor could get the height all correct. His fingers are largely missing, so it's hard to say what kind of position they might have been in at one time, which may have been some indicator of some affiliations, in terms of fraternal order style stuff. But the profile is amazing, so naturalistic. The ears so lifelike. The hair, again, he had one of those jowly beards, so it looks like that's intact. He had one of those jowly beards. I'm sure there's a beard name for that. I'm just going to call it the Wolverine look. But yeah, anyway, that was his style. It's interesting that he brought his wife also over from Europe, Italy, Mary D'Annunzio. She died about 10 years after him. But he said that American women were too strong-headed, so there you go. But, Papa, Mama, they've got the pillow-styled headstones. I think there were 2 daughters. One of them died very young. Here we see her grave in the foreground with a dove, and looks like maybe an olive branch. Hard to say. It's pretty weathered. Lily of the Valley, of course, represented there. These 2 Rock of Ages statues are lovely. This cemetery is very well cared for. There appears to be the grave also placed not long ago of another infant. Oh, I don't often sneeze in my own videos. Please bless me in the comments. I don't know what is Italian for gesundheit. But nonetheless, that appears to be a child's grave. If I had to take a gander, a guess, it could be an urn, but something recent anyway. So that's interesting. Sometimes, someone gets dug up from somewhere else and reinterred. So just a curious note here. In an older plot where, it doesn't look like there have been too many burials in quite some time. So it's interesting that they've added a child's there or some kind of burial. But anyway, that is D'Annunzio. He was epic. And of course, we see another anchor up there. Very tall, slender sword-like cross being held by the angel there with the North Star kind of headband. The rope is just fantastic. I mean, it's so naturalistic. It's crazy that is even still surviving on the statue. I'm really impressed by the monuments out here and their survival rate and the way they've weathered inside of a very wintry place. Also heavy rainfall and wind too, tornadoes. I mean, it's amazing that on top of these pillars in the distance, an angel like that is still intact above something that's just absolutely unheard of. So good for this place, good for the people that take care of it. I don't know all that stuff exactly, but man, incredible place and fascinated by the design. Some of these, I'm going to call it like Midwestern cemeteries. I know this is sort of the South, but it's still kind of, my mind, a bit of a Midwestern place, right? In the old map of the U.S. sense or something like that. But you do find a lot of these cemeteries on top of or nearby burial mounds of ancient cultures. I don't know that whole system here and how that exists around this part of Kentucky, but it makes me wonder if there wasn't some other kind of cultural dynamic, ancient civilization connected to the site, and hence these almost like inverted mounds. That'd be really interesting to explore. But anyway, guys, if you're in Louisville, or as I say, like the Louisville Slugger, Louisville, which is not to be confused with Louisville, Georgia, by the way, which has a fantastic cemetery or two as well. But if you're in the area, make St. Louis Cemetery one of your stops. It's absolutely incredible. What a joy it's been. So thanks for hanging out, supporting the channel, keeping me up and running and motivated. It means a lot. We're just trying to do intelligent, educational things here that pique people's interest. So, you know, we like to keep it kind of simple, conversational, like we're just hanging out talking about life, you know. That's all I want it to be. So keep promoting it and sharing it with others, and I'll keep doing it. So you guys have a great, blessed Sunday. It's been an honor.